seagulls follow the trawl, it's because they think sardines will be thrown into the sea. Thank you.
Nobody cares, mate.
Nobody cares, mate. Nobody fucking cares, mate, honestly.
And the guy's talking absolute nonsense. I've never heard so much rubbish in my life.
Normal men.
What do you mean, normal men?
We're just innocent men.
I'm telling you, don't back down, double down. Don't back down, double down.
Here we go. It's the P.M.P. Same as it ever was. Same as it ever was. Because Celtic are in another domestic cup final. Hampden continues to be a happy hunting ground. Derek McInnes continues to face Celtic at Hampden and get his arse handed to him. I am joined tonight by the face of P.M.P, Terry Robb. What's happening, Terry? Now, before I even get your shitey opinion for the next hour, Terry, we need to have a conversation, mate. I wanted to invite on William Greenlaw, the Punk Duck Warlord, but after last week, Terry, I realised me and you have actually been on to a bit of a winner with PA. Me and you have kept it straightforward. We've kept it sensible. We've kept it alcohol-free. We have been very dedicated to the cause and tried to always do our best professional job.
No drink on the job. Absolutely no drink on the job.
So I decided not to invite Liam because I feel last week he was a really bad influence on us, Terry, wasn't he?
Honestly, Bossy, you couldn't have said it better. And see, to be honest, I asked you before I come onto the show, see if he was coming on again. I wasn't fucking coming on. I ain't gone through what I went through last week. You come on there for a show and you're on to chat about Celtic and you end up getting absolutely pissed. But just in case Liam was on and it went like last week, I was
Exactly.
Honestly, you can't see if you're doing a 3-hour shift like last week, you've got to keep yourself hydrated. So I'm ready for it.
I totally get that, mate. I mean, he led us astray last week, and I'm really sorry they punked up, but I went on again last night, Terry. Guess how long? 3 hours 14 minutes again. I'm beginning to think he's the common denominator, the rock star. I'm telling you, man.
You can't be doing that at my age.
No, well, I don't know what age Liam the Punk Duck Warlord is. Timeless, I would say. No. Timeless, mate. But yes,
it was a great chat last week. Really enjoyed it. Like I had to play back to see what we talked about, but I enjoyed it. Man. Enjoyed it both times.
Oh mate, I know. Anyway, welcome aboard the Boise Bus, ladies and gentlemen. 113 already in the first 5 minutes. Terry, it's getting silly these days. It's getting silly. Hit that like button, hit subscribe, all the rest of that good stuff, as they call it. If you want to become a member like Kevin 14 like Craigie, like Patrick McLaughlin, like Phil McGinley, like Sean the Mac, David Ferguson, balls to the walls. They're just the ones that are in sight right now. It's completely optional, as well as Joseph McGonigal as well. Anyway, let's talk Celtic. I just did Fancam Live, Terry, and so funny because I know you didn't watch it. You tuned into the game. Absolutely fair dues.
I joined it just for the first couple of minutes before the game.
That.
I joined it, but see when the game's on, I just want to sit and watch the game and focus on it.
It wasn't.
I hate it. See when mobiles are going off and chat and stuff. I'm just going. I just want to watch the game.
Don't you worry about that. The funny thing is, what I was going to say was we spoke 5 minutes before we went on air, and 3 points you raised that I had been saying on Fancam. I agree, Moy was man of the match. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm saying it. Moy was the best player in the park. What was the other ones? There was another couple that we had.
Struggles down the left-hand side of the defence.
Yep. And then what was the other one?
There was another one. We'll get there.
Starfelt was having a nightmare. That's the other one.
I make him as part of the left-hand side of the defence. That left side, left centre back, left back. But we'll get there. Just on your point around Moy, I mean, I shared with you my thoughts around it, and I think he's really come onto a game. And I know that we talked last week, and we sort of said, you know, he's looked good coming on in cameo appearances towards the end of games and stuff like that. But today, from the first whistle, I thought he bossed the game. Everything went through him. And whenever he plays for the Australian team, and whenever he played for Huddersfield and Brighton down in the Premiership, all their attacks went through Aaron Moy. He was the main man. And I think what we're seeing here is his sort of evolution, his integration into the team, his improved fitness. And there's probably still a few percent to go on that, but he's definitely a different beast from the one that started the season. But I think when he's come into the Celtic team, a lot of things go through Callum McGregor, and Moy's used to everything going through him. And I think he's probably found that a little bit awkward at the start, but he's sort of found a way. And I just thought he was inventive, he was creative, he was brilliant in possession. His delivery for the first goal, it didn't matter if a Killie player or a Celtic player got on the end of it; it was going in the net. It didn't matter.
Yeah.
You know, it was such an excellent delivery, and I'm delighted to see it. And I think it
did matter though who was putting it towards the net. Come on, Terry, you can't just brush over it that much. The boy who was doing, you can't brush over who really was on the end of that cross, because it was the guy who was doing star jumps outside Derek McInnes's office, who tries to do the hook volley, sweep volley sort of clear, not realising danger Maeda's creeping up on him. And what a plant pot he looked. I thought it was wonderful.
I don't really want to go down the road of kicking Lafferty. I think I have my own thoughts. I have my own thoughts on what happened. And
he's a pantomime villain, Terry.
I know he is. I know he is.
You go deep, Terry.
I know. No, I'm not. I despise the guy as a footballer. I mean,
he made the James Hunt here, mate.
I sympathise with some of it. I sympathise with some of his challenges out off the pitch and stuff. The stuff that happened with the 10-game ban. I have my own thoughts around that, and it's probably not an opinion that's shared by many people within the Celtic fraternity. But I don't like all this pish with supporters going up and asking a guy for a photograph and tricking him into it and trying to make a cunt out of him and stuff. And the guy has said something, and you know,
it's not really the point though, Terry, is it? I think the point is, for 10-15 years he's been fun to laugh at for being shit at football. I know, so if he's going to put it in the top bins, I'm sorry.
I know, but anyway, I started that off trying to talk about Moy, and you have purposely tried to divert me onto Lafferty to take the attention, off Moy. No, Moy was sublime today, and I think if we haven't already, I'm pretty sure we'll be triggering our 1-year option to keep Aaron Moy for a second year.
Terry, I think there's someone who knows you in the comments looking.
That name looks familiar. Barry, can you just do me one favour? Hit like and subscribe.
He's what a shot at 20 quid.
That's my brother. That's my other brother that you've never met.
There's
one of my sisters as well. It's a family show.
Oh, it's all fun and games. Terry, I thought the opening 5 minutes we could be on. This game could be a live one here. That's how I felt. I thought, fucking hell, Kilmarnock, fair play to them. Not the start we expected from a Derek McInnes team. They came out the traps. Armstrong was very threatening. And we were under the cosh a wee bit. There was a couple of opportunities there in the opening 5 minutes. I do feel, though, that, if you're, I'm sure Sportsy or something like that will put out the highlights reel, and you'll see, if you've not watched the game, you'll see those opening clips and go, oh, come on, it must have had quite a good first half. I really thought it began and ended on 7 minutes. I thought it was a 7-minute flurry from them. And then after that, I felt we took control. I'm not saying we were at our very, very best, but I do think the game was very much in our hands from then on.
I think we were controlled, but I'll probably disagree that it was just the first 7 minutes, because Kelly had a couple of chances at various stages, including towards the end, second half and stuff like that. And I thought, at no stage did I think we're not going to make this final, but it wasn't a flawless performance. Kelly came out of the blocks. I think what you have to remember is it's a different. Yes, it's 11 players, it's a pitch, it's the same game, but it's a semi-final, and it's not like a league game. And in a semi-final, a team like Kelly, a draw's no good, a point's no good, a 0-0's no good. You've got to try and find some kind of way of winning the game. And I thought they were lively in the first early exchanges. I think they purposely. I mean, if I was a manager playing against Celtic, the Celtic team that was out today, I'd be targeting our left-hand side of the defence. I think they've purposely done that. I think they've targeted one, possibly two individuals, and those opportunities in the first 6 or 7 minutes. The common theme was they were all down our right-hand side. What is going on here? the common theme, it was down our defensive left-hand side, their attacking right-hand side, and you really put me off by sitting there sniggering. Take that away. Listen, dude, do you want my thoughts on the game, or do you fucking not?
That was the best one yet. Fucking hell.
I'm trying to be professional here and get you likes for your podcast, and you're just sitting pissing yourself with fucking stupid comments.
Nobody cares, mate. Nobody cares.
Listen, Derek McGuinness did his homework this time. He targeted the left-hand side of our defence, Mr. Starfelt and Burnaby. And you could see that was obvious from the start. And most of the dangerous stuff from our perspective came down that side. Joe Hart, he made a good save early in the game, around about the 6th, 7th minute. Starfelt fucking dilly-dallying on the ball, walking out, bringing it out from the back. This was what we talked about earlier. He's the new Boyata, where other teams just say,
yeah, that was it.
If he's got the ball, let him have it, because he's going to fucking give it to us. And he comes dandering out with the ball, and he tries a pass. He loses possession, creates a chance, and fuck him out of the road. Ban him out of the chat, boys. And Joe Hart has to make a save. And I think I counted three really good saves from Joe Hart at pivotal moments in the match.
Yes.
And these are the differences between us sitting here looking forward to a final and us maybe still sitting watching fucking penalty kicks right now and shaking ourselves.
Yeah, David Kelly comes in, but it was a far better player than Starfelt. I agree with David on that.
I don't know. I think they're both absolutely fucking pissed, to be honest.
I think the trait they have is they both have a mistake in them. I think overall, Boyat was far more comfortable on the ball than Starfelt is. And it's not recency bias me saying that. Starfelt's looking more awkward on the ball. Look at it this way. This was the other point that we agreed on that I'd made several times. Oh, here we go. That's the optic. That's the egg timer. Can you imagine that being like a thing of sand? That's how long we've got left to do this show. However much vodka's in that bottle.
Listen to me. We should be getting a wee sponsorship deal on this here gear.
Oh, I know. Tell me about it, mate. But
we can see the ice cubes. Look at that for an ice cube. That would sink the fucking Titanic. Look at
that. The thing is, Starfelt has to be recognised. When teams like Kilmarnock think you're shite, there's no smoke without fire. Now, you look how deliberate that tactic, and I've seen this before and I've commented on it before. Today, it was the most obvious ever. At times, Starfelt was being allowed to travel with the ball in slow motion, very square, for 30, 40 yards, Terry. From gathering it well inside his own half to at times he was at the edge of the box. At one moment he really did have a chance to take a shot and shot it. And I think Kilmarnock banked on that. He ain't got the bollocks to make that. He's not got the ability to make the killer pass or have a pop at goal. Let him have it. He's going to confuse himself eventually. And I'm not being disrespectful. It's just when he's got the time on the ball, Terry, for whatever reason, other teams have now identified, let him have it.
I'm not one of these guys that likes to criticise Celtic players and beat up on Celtic players. But
tell the truth, though, Terry. Do you know what I mean?
No, I tell the truth. I tell the truth, and I've watched a few other pods this week, and no disrespect to those guys, no disrespect to Starfelt. There's been sort of people trying to. They've almost the narrative has been there's a pile-on in Starfelt, and it's really unjustified. I watched the game. I watched Starfelt. I watched the centre halves because that's part of the game that I'm particularly interested in. And that guy just ain't good enough. Now he does have qualities. Starfelt's qualities are backs to the wall performance, loads of balls coming into your box. That's where he excels, Boise. He excels in the defensive side of the game. Unfortunately for him, but fortunately for Celtic, when we're playing domestically, we don't really have that side of the game very often. That's a small part of the game. The part of the game that our centre halves need to have is in possession. So we look at centre backs that have been really looked really impressive in recent years. The likes of your Ayer and your Van Dijk, people, and Carter Vickers obviously goes in there as well.
Yes,
Comfortable in possession, comfortable bringing the ball out, able to pass the ball and find a Celtic jersey. You know that. He just doesn't have that aspect of his game, and I don't want to be cruel, but I just don't see.
Telling the truth is never cruel, Terry.
No,
telling the truth is
it's just not a Celtic. He's just not a Celtic centre back. He just isn't. And if Kobayashi doesn't get introduced in the next few weeks, then my question would be, why did we sign him? If he's not better than Carl Starfelt, why do we sign him? Because we need a better centre half than Carl Starfelt.
Completely agree.
I've been saying this. I said this during the summer. We need upgrades. I want another player at the level of Carter Vickers. We go and we find it, and we pay whatever we have to do to get it, because he's just not good enough.
Doesn't make up enough. See, defensively, Terry, this is the way I would say it about Starfelt. It's not a pile-on. It's an observation based again on today.
I would love the guy to play well. I really would.
I know, exactly. Me too.
And there have been games where he's played well, and I've come on the show and I've said, Starfelt was good tonight. Thought he was good tonight.
You've got to call it as you see it, though, Terry.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think there's a body of evidence now. You watch Starfelt, and for whatever he lacks on the ball, my opinion is, for as good as he is at defending, he ain't good enough to mask how bad he is in the ball. See if you're not great in the ball, but you're an absolutely brilliant defender in the mould of Chiellini. I know that we're never going to have a player of that ability, but you know where I'm coming from. Chiellini never looked like he was great in the ball, but boy, oh boy, could he defend. He knew the art of defending. I don't think Starfelt makes up enough for it, in my opinion, with this backs to the wall narrative that he's brilliant at, or suits better. I think if he's got his back to the wall, I'm not convinced against better opposition he's going to shine that bright. I think he's good at it, good at defending, but he is not great at defending. On the ball, he's extremely poor. This is a ball-playing Celtic team. Cameron Carter-Vickers is a better outright defender than him, and 10 times the player on the ball. Now, this isn't, again, in comes Sean the Mac, doesn't like slagging our players. Starfelt's passing from the back was pish. Sean the Mac. I mean, no one likes slagging Celtic players, but you can tell the truth like you are right now. Do you know what I mean? It's an honest observation. I'm looking at the Kobayashi thing as well, Terry, and I'm going, okay, you're above Jens in the pecking order already. That seems very apparent.
I wouldn't be surprised if his deal was cut in January, to be honest.
Cut in January, maybe. Maybe that's why they're trying to get rid of Welsh, give themselves a 6-month window with Jens as a backup, and then get that ace in the pack at the back to
proper one, big Porteous. I'm joking.
No, I know what you're saying. I know. No. I think at times Starfelt does make you nervous, but one guy who's made me nervous at times has been the goalkeeper, and it's been Joe Hart. And we were talking, through the week. Fucking hell, I've not stopped talking for the past 7 days, but Joe Hart had came up at some point, as did I don't know Joe Miller's right foot. You know what I mean? We never spoke about everything else. But Joe Hart today put out save, that first one in particular, that was low down at his near post where he's really had to stretch, tipped it round for the corner. And I thought, do you know what? That was a throwback almost to him at peak Joe Hart at Man City with the short sleeves. You know, I thought, wow, that reminded me of that goalkeeper then. But it's to be honest, he nearly cost us towards the end. I don't know if you remember this, but there's the ball bounces in his 6-yard box again. Yes, there's an offside eventually given, but his hesitancy. I'm going.
There's a second where you think the striker's just going to get a nick on it and put it past him.
He's got to be more convincing then. But the shot stopping that he did today, definitely, Terry, was outstanding. And they were shot stops that weren't, in offside positions. So, they were live and he made them. Got to give him credit where it's due.
Yeah, absolutely. He's earned his corn today. Key moments, cup semi-final, one of them goes in, you're into extra time. You don't get the breakthrough in extra time, you're into penalty kicks, and that's an absolute lottery. So, yeah, I counted 2 or 3 sort of key saves that Joe Hart made today where he he pulled the team out. So kudos to him. There's been times where he hasn't been perfect, and we've seen the reason why he's not at a top team anymore, or why he fell away at Man City, fell out of the England picture. But definitely today, Joe Hart came up trumps for us. One thing I want to touch on, Boise, is you were talking there about some of the decision, or some of the periods of play where offside ended up the decision. At one point today, I didn't know what the fucking score was, because I was watching the platform I was watching on after Maeda's goal, the one that he placed into the top corner.
Legal platforms are available, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, all platforms are available. The platform I was watching the game on,
carefully.
Platform I was watching on was the one after Maeda put the ball in the top corner to make it 2-0, as we thought, from Kyogo's first touch around about the 60th minute. The production I was watching still had 2-0 on the screen 2 minutes later, and the commentator was still talking about the score being 2-0 before he actually realised that goal hadn't been given. So, and then we had another goal disallowed soon after that. So at various stages today, the conversation in our house was, does anybody know what the fucking score really is?
Well, Terry, we did break the deadlock. A bit fortuitous. But again, I think you've got to credit,
I don't know, but you're saying it's fortuitous. I think the ball's hit the net,
no one's hit a shot and the ball's at the back of the net, mate, right? So it's fortuitous.
But the delivery was of such a quality that that eventuality is going to happen. It doesn't matter, as I said earlier, it doesn't matter if the Celtic player or the Killie player gets it. See, with that kind of delivery, you've got
that ball ricocheting off Maeda going in top bit.
There was a little bit, but I think you've got to give a lot of credit.
What I was about to do, I said you've got to give credit. I think Maeda does those runs. I called him.
No, you're giving credit to Maeda. I'm giving credit to Moy for the delivery. That delivery was superb. It was superb.
Nah, it was good.
It was worthy of you wearing the t-shirt.
It was better than his clips up the park. No, I thought Moy was man of the match today. I said it. I said today on the fan cam live, which I think had 1,500 views. So a big shout out to everyone who joined us for that. But I said at the time, I generally thought Moy was the best player in the park. So we can put that narrative to the side. I don't want to give him praise, right?
That's done.
But I thought Maeda coming in back stick, I just think he does it. He's danger Maeda light feet. He's a danger light feet Maeda even. He just swoops in. He must run in his tippy toes.
In the form that he's in, you get those wee bits of luck that he got to that.
I couldn't agree more with that. I think you're absolutely right. He is at this moment in time, came back from the World Cup and everything. He could put the lottery numbers on tomorrow and he's winning it. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. He's just on a streak. He's on a winning streak. And I just think it's class to see Maeda full of confidence, full of beans. And by the way, see when that ricochet goes in, it is all because he's doing that anticipation, that press that I think at times shows you the side of Maeda where you go, that's why Japan play him as a number 9. Because see what a great number 9 does, they anticipate. And I would say the one thing you would say guilty of Kyogo, he doesn't gamble enough on these sort of things, like instances occurring. He doesn't do enough of that, Kyogo. Again, before everyone says I'm slagging Kyogo and I want him sold for 2 million, All I'm saying is, I think you see that instinct from Maeda that maybe does make you understand more why Japan see him as an out-and-out striker, why he's played as an out-and-out striker in the past, because that is undeniably someone just instinctively going, good ball in the area, I'm getting in there. And yes, he gets, in my opinion,
if you're a defender on a Friday night or Saturday night and you know you're playing against him the next day, you're lying in bed trying to get to sleep and you're just thinking, I am going to have to be 100% in my game tomorrow because this wee fucker is just going to not give me any peace. See, just touching on Kyogo very quickly there. I was watching the game today and honestly, I said earlier, jokingly, he got his first touch with that assist for the goal that was disallowed. I genuinely don't remember him touching the ball too much before then. And I was sitting thinking to myself, Kyogo has been so quiet today. And then see that little pass that he played, that it was 3 yards. It was just so incisive. And then I've changed my whole opinion. I'm going, that's why he's still on the pitch, because he just gives you that little bit of quality at a key time. But then that goal's obviously been wiped out. But you can't wipe out the little pass that he played in that game. But he was quiet. He was quiet.
I said the same in the stream. I said, do you know what? See, for as quiet as he's been, see that wee moment. But what it led me to,
quality. That's
what it led me to, though, Terry. What it led me to was that guy up front with a partner. That's what you would get. That link-up play. If Kyogo's, that was a brilliant reverse ball outside of the boot. It almost makes the ball stick like glue to just that extra second, so it goes, just sort of bends the other way. I'm like, that sort of link-up play tells me, I think Kyogo looks worse than he is as a lone striker. I don't think he's ever been a lone striker or should be a lone striker. I think him with a partner would be quite devastating to watch up top. I really do. And by the way, see when you're talking about not getting the ball, there was a moment he gave away a foul in the second half, inside our own half. That was totally needless. And you went, do you know what that is? It's a player needing to get a touch. He's been on the sidelines too long. He's been on the shelf too long. And he's going, I need involved here somehow.
He ran 40 yards to make that foul.
He's forcing it. Do you know what I mean? And you're like, but I kind of get that. I kind of get it. But when you see that wee moment, that flick on, my honest opinion, straight away I went, even though the goal's disallowed, the two good things that came of it was Kyogo showed to me, give me a partner, and that could be something you see far more regularly, because once I've got the support around me, look at the wee passes, the wee angles I can find. That's an intelligent player. Also, secondly on that, I looked at Maeda's finish, curled top bags, and I said,
Right foot. Remember, he's right footed. He's only just realised in the last 2 months he's right footed.
Even then, he's probably got his boots on the wrong way around. But the other thing is with Maeda, he doesn't lose any confidence that goal was disallowed. He's now running about feeling like that because he didn't know it was offside. He knows how well he's finished that. Suddenly it's like, oh yeah, fucker, I really am on fire right now. I love to see that. That will give both of them confidence, even though it was disallowed.
Do you know what's so annoying, boys? See, these breaks after every goal, honest to God.
Shite.
It's so frustrating. I mean, I don't know. I'm guessing I'm probably the same as you, and I'm a lot of people that support Celtic. My whole week, the only thing that gets me through life and work is looking forward to my game at the weekend, and I want to watch Celtic playing, and it's almost like a drug. See, when that game's on, I want the ball to be in play. I want Celtic to be doing stuff. That's what gets me going. That's what gives me enjoyment in life, is watching my team playing. See this pish where you're standing, watching people stand about. If I want to watch people stand about, I'll go down and stand at the fucking street corner. There's plenty of people standing, walking about my town, doing absolutely fuck all. And if I want to watch people doing nothing, I'll just go down there and I can do that. I don't want to watch professional footballers standing doing nothing for 2-3 minutes, waiting for some guy to go, yeah, no. Honestly, it's... I really don't enjoy it. It's ruining football for me. Honestly, I really don't think I'll watch another match, to be honest.
No, I think that's fair enough. What about this for William McFarlane? Here's another topic we could talk about, because there was one curveball in the starting lineup, one, and that was Alistair Johnston at the team. The guy
I don't know if you heard the manager comments before the game. Johnston pulled up during the week in training, and he trained again on Friday, but they didn't want to take any risks with him, and Juranovic was fit, so they brought him in.
Flip it though. You see the team lineup, you might not be aware of that, and you go, fucking hell, Juranovic, and Christ, this last game was awful. I thought today he looked he looked like a guy that had, I don't know. This is my takeaway that I said on fan cam, Terry. You tell me what you think. I went, is that a guy whose reality is bitten for him? He's realised, I need to up my game just to get a game at Celtic now. Actually, I played in semi-finals at the National Stadium with Celtic. I win trophies at Celtic. I get in the Croatia squad, or in the Croatia first team as a right back, by being a Celtic player. I'm loved and adored here. I played for the 60,000 every other week. Life ain't all that bad. Is that better than Monza? Probably. And maybe that he's needed a wee reality check. Someone like Ange, deadpan going, well, that's your options, mate. What do you want to do? Do you want to go to Monza? Sound. And just suddenly he's went, actually, maybe it's time to take stock and go, this ain't all so bad here. He looked to me like he played today with a completely clear head, Terry. I looked.
Well, I say, here's my thoughts on it, right?
Okay.
If you can play in a World Cup semi-final, League Cup semi-final in Scotland should be well within your compass.
But that's not the point, because he played against Rangers and he was fucking awful.
Yeah, he played out of position. He played when there was a bug in the squad. It was his first game back after a break. There's lots of reasons. Yes, he was absolutely terrible. But I thought he was good today. I thought he looked especially good going forward, and I thought he was safe. He was safe defensively. I think you're reading too much into it. I think he's gone. I think there's something in place. I'm absolutely certain. I'm absolutely certain there's a release clause, and that's why we're talking the kind of figures that are in place. I think that's why we've gone out and got Alistair Johnson. We've realised this guy's release clause is so low. He's definitely going. Somebody's going to take him for that release clause because it's so low. I think he's gone, and I think that freedom is probably because something's been agreed in the background, and he knows it's happening. I'd be happy enough for Juranovic to stay, but I'm happy enough for him to go. I don't think we need three right backs that at this moment in time, I think are not. There's not that much of a gap in quality between all three of them, so we can afford for one of them to go. I'm not that bad. I think he's gone. I think it's done. I think Giakoumakis is gone. I think that goal today was just a wee going away gift. I think
time to talk about Giakoumakis.
I think he could be gone. I think he could be gone as early as Monday or Tuesday. The vibes I'm getting.
Okay, what did you make of his display?
I think he scored a Giakoumakis goal. He's in the right place at the right time and puts the ball in the net. It's what he does.
He tends to be in the right place at the right time, mate.
Yeah, it's what he does. It's what he does. I'll be got it when he goes.
Can you put a price on getting a player who can put themselves in the right place at the right time?
The thing is, Boise, we don't know what's going on behind the scenes. We don't know what, we can surmise. It's within our gift that we can speculate. That's what we're allowed to do. We've absolutely no idea. I mean, I think I said last week, Giakoumakis, he's had one good season in Holland. He's had one excellent season in Scotland where he only played half the season and was second choice for that half of the season. He's at a stage in his life where he's probably got 4 years kind of in his peak where he's got an opportunity to earn enough to do him and his family for the rest of his life. I can't imagine he was on a great wage in Holland. At this moment in time, he's probably in the bottom half of the earners at Celtic. We don't know what he wants. We don't know what other people are prepared to give him. We can only guess. I think he probably wants more money. Let me tell you my theory on it. He wants more money. He wants more game time.
I think the money stuff's totally stage managed bullshit. That's what I think. I think the more money thing is the easiest thing, so that fans are easier and more open to him leaving.
I don't know. I don't know.
Those stories. Let me go. Let me finish.
Yeah, you go. It's your show. You go.
Those stories are allowed to run, and that narrative is allowed to be filled, and it suits the agenda that Giakoumakis is a money grabbing idiot. I have seen comparisons with Van Hooijdonk, for fuck's sake, on Twitter, left, right, and centre, and you're going, what point is it even close to that? It's not. The thing is with Giakoumakis that he's been pissed off about is not getting game time.
Aye.
He wants to play. He feels he's had a raw deal in terms of opportunities in the first team. And by the way, all this bad body language, so what if he's annoyed he's not getting game time? I don't want players sitting there going, this is brilliant, I just watch for the side every week, and get paid fortunes. That's more of a mercenary than someone upset that they're not getting game time. So people that want to go, oh, it's all about money. I think Kaiser just said it's all about money, man. How do you know, mate? How do you know that, Kaiser? Based on what? He didn't look like he was all about money today. Ripped his shirt off after he scored the clinching goal in yet another big game. And anyone who wants to tell me what Celtic players earn a week, I'm sorry, but you're pissing in the wind. It's made up bullshit. No one knows what Giakoumakis gets paid.
Agree.
None of us know. So let's not speculate on all that nonsense. The one thing I will say is, when it comes to Giakoumakis, I think he's getting sold up the Swanee a wee bit because Celtic are actively trying to sell him. And the narrative that he's chasing bigger contracts, bigger wages, that's been run with far more than the key point is he has not been given as fair a crack when he's dipped out of form. In fact, even when he's been in form, as Kyogo has. Kyogo is a preferential treatment. I get it, by the way. Kyogo tends to score even if he's not playing well. I totally get it. But from a Giakoumakis lens, he's going, wait the new. I score 2 and I get dropped. I play well there, I come on, I get 10 minutes instead of 25, 30 minutes. I don't feel I feel I'm getting a raw deal. I'm a bit pissed off. What's wrong with that? I want players hungry to play for Celtic.
It's probably somewhere in the middle, boy. He wants a few more quid to try and set himself up and his family for the rest of his life.
Maybe and that promised him.
And he wants more game time. He wants more game time. He wants
I think the game time's more bigger than the money thing here. Remember, he signed a 5-year deal at Celtic.
Aye.
5 years times. Let's go with Kaiser.
That 5-year deal that he signed at Celtic. That 5-year deal that he signed at Celtic was off the back of one good season in Holland. He's then had a good season in Scotland. He's the top scorer in the Scottish Premier League, and you don't know what's happening there. His agent is probably saying, right, your stock last year was at its absolute highest. Now you've done it again in another league. Your stock is now at its absolute highest. We need to do something. We need to plan our next move. Is it at Celtic and we go up the salary scale? Is it somewhere else and you get life-changing money? Can we get more time? I know, boys. I agree, Merrill, to be honest with you. See, I don't even know why he brought me on tonight. He probably could have just he could just have extended his farm camp for another
round. Shite, man.
Every time he could have spoken. No, boys, say, honestly, the passengers are right. The passengers are always right. Nah, we don't know, boys, if we could speculate. I think he's gone. Last week, I hoped that there was some kind of possibility that we could keep him. And I know that goal today was just a tap in an empty net. But you've got to be in the position. You've got to anticipate where that ball's going to land and put yourself in the position to put it in. My issue around Giakoumakis, I'll accept if he goes, but we need to replace that man. We need to replace him. And I've watched some of the shows this week, and I laughed at Big Connor on, I think it was Thursday night on the TNF. Connor was getting himself into a right tizzy, worrying about this deal with the Japanese striker, and he was very, very anxious. My sort of approach to that is, at the moment, names are mentioned. We're probably negotiating with maybe 3 to 4 strikers here, and I'm totally confident that if Giakoumakis goes, we'll land another striker before the end of January. My time giving emotion to people who aren't at Celtic ended with Eddie Howe. I invested a lot of emotion in Eddie Howe, and my learning from that experience is that deal didn't happen. It dragged on for months. It didn't happen. Within a couple of days, Ange Postecoglou was in the door. So I'm totally confident that if the Korean guy doesn't happen, somebody else will happen. If that target doesn't happen, we'll have another one. We'll be ready. I just struggle with the whole concept of, because of the way Ange treats Kyogo, is unless we bring in somebody that's better than Kyogo, he's just going to have the same. He's going to play the same role as Giakoumakis, and he's going to get pissed off as well. And
is there an argument that at times during Giakoumakis' 18 months and Kyogo's 18 months, Giakoumakis has been a better bet than Kyogo?
There's times he was in fire, man. See that run where he was just banging everything first time into the net, scoring goals against Hearts and stuff. No, there definitely was times where he was the form player.
So this is the thing. Is that a deterrent into a potential new striker? And by the way, I just feel, Boulder's boy keeps coming and saying the grumpy Greek. I don't see a guy running about with his shirt off today.
There was one day I thought he looked a little less excitable, a little less excitable coming on with 3 minutes to go. I thought you looked a little bit less excitable than normal, but no, today and last week, but fuck me, he's coming on for 15 minutes in a cup semi-final like that. That's not going to work for a guy like him. And you know, remember the interview where he told us we were going to be champions. He told us we were the best team in the league, and he got a lot of criticism for his confidence. So there's a wee bit of an ego there, and that's not a bad thing. You know, I don't think it verged on arrogance, but it was supreme confidence. And if you're that kind of individual and you're getting 15 minutes at the end of a cup semi-final, that after training hard all week, that isn't going to float your boat.
Does Ange like characters like that, Terry?
I don't know. I mean, I think Kyogo's the golden boy. He was the first signing. He's just the darling. I don't know. I just don't see, while Ange is there, I just don't see us getting another striker who's going to be the number one. I just don't see it.
But the thing is, we need to have options. We can't just have one striker. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, if we're going to replace the number 2 striker, then it has to be better than the number 2 we've currently got. If his wage is such a pittance, by the way, good luck getting a better striker than Giakoumakis on a lower wage.
How do you sit with a prospective candidate and say Kyogo's going to play unless he gets injured? You're going to get fucking 10 minutes at the end of every game.
You just lie to them like you lie to Giakoumakis when he's just tell him shite. Just tell him shite, give him a 5-year deal, and then go 18 months later. Sorry, mate, I didn't actually fancy.
I still don't think, Boise, we explored the both of them playing option enough. We got 20 minutes one night, and that was about the fucking height of it. And you know, long gone seem to be the days of 2 strikers, and I just don't know why every single
it's annoying, eh?
Every single team in the world no longer 2 strikers works. Why does nobody do it anymore?
Who did it? Did Leicester City do it when they won the 2016 title? Was it Leicester?
Mahrez played on the right, Vardy played in the middle. I think they were that kind of 3.
No, they were, because it was ironically the Japanese striker that played quite often. Oh, what was his fucking name?
I don't think he was first choice. I think he came on
that.
Well, Mahrez was on the right, Vardy was in the middle.
Leicester City did it 4-4-2.
Who was the other centre forward? Because Mahrez was on the right, Vardy was in the middle.
What was he called? I wanted to say Kawasaki then. I was like, that's a motorbike.
Ozaki? No.
Ozaki was it?
I don't think he was first choice. I really don't. But I could be wrong.
Was there another striker? I don't know. Okazaki. I'm sure that they played 4-4-2. I'm sure they did play 4-4-2. Anyway, the point is, I think you're right, Terry. We don't always need to be that rigid with the formation, or you would like to think not. Ojua, yeah, he played a wee bit. Yeah. But I think there's an argument that Giakoumakis and Kyogo would actually work pretty effectively together, and that'll be a crying shame.
Well, we've tried every other combination. Do you know what I mean?
The reluctance is then, Terry?
What was that? Sorry, Boise.
What do you think the reluctance is with that experiment? When I call it experiment very lightly, because I think it's a very low risk experiment. I think if we start Celtic Park against the bottom 6 team, Terry, and we've got Giakoumakis and Kyogo up top as forwards, I think we score goals.
I don't know. You've probably got the manager who is a really strong character, and that's really good. But somebody else probably he hasn't considered it, and somebody else has suggested it, and he wants to pull rank. Yeah, I really don't. I can't see any other reason why.
Just go and stubborn there, Terry.
Yeah, probably, yeah. I can't see any other reason, boys. He's tried every other combination: Abad on the right, Maid on the left, Maid on the right, Jot on the left, Jot on the right. He's tried every combination except that one where both Kyogo and Giakoumakis play other than 20 minutes at the end of one game. And I think Kyogo got hurt about 2 minutes into that experiment and had to come off. I think that was the only time I can remember. So it's baffling, because if you're happy to try all those different combinations, then you try that one. So I honestly.
But if he leaves and we've not seen it, I think that would be I think that will be when we do Bustalgia in 5 years. The Ange Postecoglou first couple of seasons, and Phil's diced all the stats down and go, we had 2 great strikers. There's the goal returns. Here's the goals by minutes. But here's a trivia question for you, ladies and gentlemen. How many minutes did they play together? And everyone will think, looking at the numbers, oh, I don't know, 15 games together, 20 games. It feels like 33 minutes in 18 months together. Like, I think that will surprise people. I do think it would be a crying shame that he's undeniably going to leave without I just would like to see the evidence of it, even if it falls flat in its face and we can all go, okay, that didn't work. I would like to have seen it to happen together because I do rate them both.
The surprising thing is, boys, he was happy to go with a similar combination up front in the game at Ibrox early in his reign, where he played an Edward who was about to leave and he put Kyogo out to the left. Now, Kyogo wasn't overly effective that day, but he spent a lot of his previous career playing on the left, but we've never seen that experimented with again, really.
Weird. I don't know what to make of that.
But he's off ski, and that's it.
He is off ski. I think you're right. I think he is off ski. But I was good. I was glad he was.
I'm not concerned about a replacement. I know
Why? Tell me why.
I've just decided after Eddie Howe, I'm not going to invest any emotion in anybody who's not at Celtic until they're in the door.
It's not about the emotion, though, Terry. It's about being left with one striker, mate. The facts.
I don't think we will be. We're not going to let him go unless we have a replacement.
So you think we'll have a replacement in before Giakoumakis goes? I can live with that.
No, I think we'll have a replacement in by the end of January, and that's 2 weeks away. So we might run.
There is football matches in between now and the end of January, though.
There is, but we'll be okay in those.
This is what I don't get. I mean, maybe I've played too much.
We're playing St Mirren on Wednesday night. If Giakoumakis goes before Wednesday, are you going to start shitting yourself that we can't beat St Mirren on Wednesday night?
No, but I'll start turning on it on that point and doubling down on it if we don't get the result that I want. 100%.
That won't be because
why leave anything to chance?
Eh?
Why leave anything to chance like that? See, when I've got 5 centre halves in my team, 3 right backs, I don't know.
You've just made a point 30 minutes ago.
100 million centre midfielders. I don't understand why we can't get to a stage where we could have 2-3 strikers in.
We will. We'll have a replacement striker by the end of January. But if we face St Mirren without Georgios Giakoumakis on the bench, we've got, as you mentioned 30 minutes ago, a striker whose probably best position is through the middle, and he played in the World Cup for Japan as a striker. For one game, if you're building a risk assessment for one game, Kyogo's your top striker. He's going to play till the 75th minute. You can build a risk assessment that if anything happens to him, Maeda can fill in for 15 minutes. I don't think I'm not gonna shit myself over 15 minutes.
But why does it have to be shitting yourself? Why does it mean you're
because Celtic fans seem to be going absolutely nuts because this guy in Japan seems to be leading us up the garden path. I don't think
it's about shitting yourself, Terry. I think it's about going, let's look at it factually. Right now, let's say Celtic don't sell anyone and don't bring in anyone. We've got 2 strikers, we've got 3 right backs. Tell me at any other club that's that lopsided that way.
You've got to wait to the end of the window, boy. So
no, I just said if it's shut right now.
I know.
Situation.
I know. But there's going to be a lot of movement.
One of those strikers is going. So
there's going to be a lot of movement over the next 2 weeks. Juranovic deal's done. Giakoumakis deal's done. We will have a striker in the door.
Do you think 2 strikers is fine? I would rather have the 3. Yeah, that's just my opinion.
I think there's an argument for the 3. However, if there's only going to be one of them play, then you've got 2 guys fucking doing nothing.
But if they do enough in training, that might force that change.
Not if we're going out and staying in the market of £2 to £3 million players. I don't think we're not going to bring in somebody. We're not going to bring in somebody that's going to oust Kyogo. We're continuously going into that same market where we're hoping, we're taking a punt, it's a small stake for a big outcome, and we're going to be very lucky to get somebody who's going to oust Kyogo from the team. As far as I'm concerned, the only way he's going to not be number one striker is if he's injured.
As far as I'm concerned, it's a 40 million title at the end of the day, a 35 million title. Let's just make sure
that's already
our house
done.
is in order.
That's already done.
If you take that attitude in, mate, you will come a cropper. We're not allowed to say that, but the team can't, and the board can't, so don't let them do it. Anyway, we'll move on to things more positive.
You need to relax, Russell. You need to relax a bit. You're getting too stressed out about this.
No, I'm not stressed, mate. I just tell the truth. It's normal for me to tell the truth. I'm very comfortable in that currency. One thing I will say, another domestic final. How do we see this playing out? Terry, firstly, kudos to the team for making the first domestic final that we can. All right. Secondly, when it comes down to it, we will play either Aberdeen or Rangers. I'm not fearing of either of them, Terry.
Well, my first thoughts around this, obviously Rangers are the favourites. Obviously, the sponsors and everybody hopes and wishes that Rangers get through tomorrow. See the state of that pitch today, Boise, before the game started. You've now had 90 minutes on that pitch, and I checked the old weather forecast, and it's to pish all night. That pitch is going to be a fucking bog come 3 o'clock tomorrow, which I think makes that more of a leveler for that game tomorrow. That game tomorrow, I'm hoping. Don't get me wrong, Rangers could go out and fucking absolutely blitz it 3-4, 5-0. But I'm hoping that game tomorrow is going to be tight. And in my mind, there's every chance that game could go extra time penalties, and there's every chance that we end up with Aberdeen in a final, which would be absolutely lovely. But the big thing about today is performance. You can pick holes in it as much as you want. The objective for today was to get through to the final. We've a day out to look forward to, be it the guys that are going to the game, the guys that wanted to go to the bar. Maybe you'll do a fan cam or something. Who fucking knows? With something to look forward to. And we've another trophy. We get that trophy in the bank. Hopefully at that stage we're status quo or better off in terms of points in the league. And all of a sudden, come that final, there's an excellent chance that we're on for a treble, providing we still get. When's that League Cup final scheduled for, Boise? Do you know? Is right about March, or because it's obviously out of sync this year because of the World Cup.
March, I'm sure early March.
Aye. And listen, it doesn't matter what happens tomorrow. We're there, and you're going to look forward to it either way. If it's Aberdeen, you're looking forward to it. If it's Aberdeen, you're looking forward. 26th of February, so it's not that long.
Sooner than I thought. That's sooner than I thought.
If it's Aberdeen, you're looking forward to it, and you're very, very strong favourites. If it's Rangers, you're looking forward to it because it's a massive occasion, a massive game, and one of those days where your fucking nerves are going every direction.
Yeah, I just think though the thing is with the League Cup, it's so different this year. We were saying this on the bus stop. Last year, it was a crucial time in the season where the faith was kind of beginning to get restored in the team as it was, because the league form had kind of resurrected itself.
It was huge. That was the one that gave us the momentum to go on and claim the title.
But when you got to that League Cup final and you see the imagery of us lifting the trophy, I think for the fans' point of view, that's when we all went, do you know what? That looks a wee bit familiar. It's all coming back to me now. It's all coming back. And suddenly it was like the team, I think Callum McGregor, for example, went, that feeling, wow.
I underestimated the impact that winning that cup could have had towards the league, because if I think back, and again, I could be totally wrong on this, but I think Kyogo was an injury doubt for that game. And I was just completely focused on the league. And I was thinking, don't play him in that final. He's not fit. Don't play him in the final. Keep him for the league game. We're behind. We're playing catch up. The league is the most important thing. This is a 40 million season. And we played him in the final. And I'm going, that's a mistake. And then the thing happened. Because he played in the final, he then played a couple of days later in the league. And we lost him. And I'm going, well, fuck, I was right. We shouldn't have played him in the final. We shouldn't have risked him. We should have let him get fit. But the momentum that the team got from winning that trophy,
Spot on.
drives you on. If you look back in history, and I was reading something today. What was I reading? The fuck was I reading? I was reading back to somebody previously where they talked about the League Cup in another season, and they're going, yeah, do you know what? Out of the three, the League Cup is probably the least in terms of prestige and importance. But if you get that first trophy, that is so important in terms of the mindset and the momentum and the belief that gives everybody that you can go on and deliver the others. So I don't think that can be underestimated.
I think as well, the exit for Europe, this is what annoys me, right? Because it becomes Groundhog Day for me, Terry, I'll be honest. But undeniably, right now, we are where we are. And even me, subconsciously, emotionally, whatever you want to call it, is looking at the League Cup now as far more important than I was 5 months ago.
It's more important than the Champions League.
It's not, though. Do you know what I mean?
But it is now. It is now.
But it is, because we're in Europe, so it's now like suddenly the focus isn't that. See, if we did around the 26th of February have a last 16 European game, honestly, I'd be like that with the Champions League. Nobody cares, mate. With the League Cup, sorry, with the League Cup, nobody cares, mate. Give me the Champions League. Give me that. Give me the chance. Give us that chance to just do something that's, out of the ordinary. But it's horses for courses now. Because the League Cup's later in the season, our European adventure is done. Suddenly, I agree with you, Terry. It's now time to lay that marker.
Oh, it's the most important trophy out there. That's the most important trophy in the world.
Boom, and it totally has changed, eh?
It's the most important trophy in the world. Honestly. I wonder, is that going to be a Saturday game or a Sunday? Probably a Sunday. That might have to be a wee Monday booked off.
It is a Sunday.
Is it a Sunday? That'll be a Monday booked off.
I'm always off on a Monday, so I'm like,
well, you get every Monday off. Do you do Saturdays to get Monday off then, do you?
Yeah, Tuesday to Saturday, but that I don't. It's not choice, mate. It's just.
It's not. That's the way it works.
Tuesday, 10 till 6, Tuesday to Saturday. But I book you get all these fannies like, I wouldn't know where Celtic Park is. Bullshit. I've worked Saturday my whole life. I book my Saturdays, half days, days off around Celtic fixtures.
Well, see, I used to use my entire annual leave just to get Saturdays to play football and then to watch or to listen. Actually, to listen to Celtic on the radio, I was booking half days just to listen to Celtic on the radio 20 years ago. Do you know what I mean? And my whole annual leave was just every single Saturday off. Because I wanted to play. I was still playing football and I was supporting football. So I get you, and I get so many people out there that absolutely love their football club. And because the way their careers and their lives have gone, they're working Saturdays. And I'm very fortunate at the minute. I don't. There's no Saturday time. There's no weekend time. And honestly, it's such a gift that you just have your football to look forward to at the weekend, be it Saturday, Sunday, and that Celtic match. It just gets you through the week. You're thinking about it, and you can feel it. You can feel it in your stomach. You feel different on Tuesday than you did to Monday because you're a day closer to the game, and that's why the VAR annoys me so much, because that 90 minutes is your drug, and I don't take any drugs. I don't take any drugs, and I don't recommend anybody takes any. But that's my drugs watching that game. Yep. See that fucking VAR where you're just sitting there and you're going, right, what's going on? What the fuck is happening? You're almost withdrawal symptoms for 90 seconds, 2 minutes, waiting on wee Willie putting his arm up or something.
They're like Dementors, VAR. Just sucking the life out of it.
And think about the players. Think about the players, Boise. The players for a footballer, the highest euphoria is you scoring a goal in a game. And you score that goal and you have all that euphoria going through your body. You do your celebration. You're over with the fans. You're doing everything. And then you're standing waiting for 2 minutes to see if it was worth it all or not. Fucking, that's so annoying. I don't want to keep going over it, but it really fucking pisses me off.
No, I agree with that, Terry. Let's look at the landscape then. League Cup final. First tournament of the season, as they say. We're on course. League. The main competition that always is running throughout the season.
Done.
9 points, 20 goals. 9 points, 20 goals. Done. I agree, it's done. So we're well clear there. Scottish Cup next, Terry. It's another break from the harsh realities of league football.
It's a bit strange, boys, that the two of them follow on. So you've a break from the league there. It's a 3 week break.
It's all a messed up.
Well, no, it's not even a 3 week break because we've submerged during the week. In the league on Wednesday night.
Is that
This week? Check it out. I'm pretty sure the commentator said we've St Mirren on Wednesday night.
I'm miles off it if that's the case.
I wasn't aware of that before the game. I think we've St Mirren on Wednesday night. And if you
I'm
want me
hoping
on,
so.
I'm working Thursday. We will not be doing 3 hours on Wednesday night.
No, that's fine. Yeah, you're right. 18. I thought our next game was more.
Aye, listen, bring it on, man. A wee win.
No, I know, I'm
midweek
glad.
one.
I know,
That breaks
I'm
the whole
glad
week
that's
up.
a big game.
That breaks the whole week up.
My worry was 2 weeks off league duty just eases the pressure on the team. That,
No, there's a wee sneaky midweek fixture.
That's good. That's good news. That's really good. I think that suits us perfectly, by the way.
I think the other guys go to St Johnstone, which is, as we know ourselves, we only won there with 30 seconds to go, so you never know.
Yeah. I mean, last night was quite emotional in a weird way, Terry. There was a guy, Ray Abercrombie, and I'm happy to say it on the pod. He was my football coach at Auchterarder Primrose. Andy Murray was pulling the strings centre midfield.
Stop
I was at
dropping
left.
names here, will
I
you?
was at left back. But this guy Ray, he died last night. He's my mate's dad. He was an older dad, Ray, but he was a St Johnstone season ticket holder his whole life.
Okay.
So he would be a big miss for McDermott Park. Do you know what I mean? He took us one time actually to watch St Johnstone Rangers. He goes, Boise, I bought you a ticket. And I went,
Here,
for what?
big shout out to him, Boise.
Aye, massive, man. Because I said, Ray, a big ticket for what? He goes, a real team playing against Rangers. And I went,
Boise,
what do
did
mean
you
a
see
real-
during the week there? I think recently Celtic's oldest season ticket holder died.
Yeah, he's
Did you see that?
101 years old.
Can you imagine, huh? If I was getting there, I could get another 60 years at this crack.
Well, I don't want to be here when I'm 100. I annoy myself already.
You'll be lucky if you're here next week, mate.
If the curtain calls anytime soon, I've done my own boxing. It's more than I've done anyone else's. I'm okay with that. Thank you for putting up with me. See you later.
Who would you leave the keys of the bus to? Has to be McGinley. Has to be McGinley.
Like, the thing is, I'll tell Jonathan it's him because it's family and that. But the keys will be cut and Phil.
Would you give me a spare though, so I can go and have a look in?
You can't fucking nowhere near them, you
I'd lose the license on the bus.
No, I would do the whole sentimental thing, leave Jonathan a note saying I've left you the bus. But really,
it's Phil.
I'd leave him a video on StreamYard going and handing him at him. Do you know what I mean? Jonathan would lose
David
interest
Lowe
in a week.
gets a lifetime pass.
David Lowe, he's a great boy. He's got the Sunday Blether coming up tomorrow.
You've got a brilliant squad, boys. You've
Terry,
got
what
a
are we going to talk about?
brilliant squad of contributors.
I've got one more can of madness. I've got a crate of beer, but that's boring stuff, you know.
You're right. I've got a pass here to half down. After that,
Right.
after that,
What
it's
do you want to talk
overtime.
about?
After
What do
that,
you
it's overtime.
What do you want to talk about? Did you see Roy Keane's interview with Tommy Tiernan?
No, I didn't.
Oh, I
didn't.
just
Why
watched
did
it in
that go?
school. So there's the wee clip about his wife where he said his first date with his wife was a Paul, and he picked her up and he said, "Do you want to go to the cinema?" She said no. He goes, "What, do you want to go for a drink?" She said no. So I went round the block and she said, "What? Where are you taking me?" I said, "Home." You obviously don't want to do anything. Still married to her.
I thought you were going to say she took her clothes off, and he goes, "That's
No,
embarrassing.
but I don't
That's
Roy Keane would say
embarrassing."
that. But he's 30 years. Honestly, it's a 30-minute interview. It's fantastic.
He is box office boys. You see, whenever I
I
heard
agree.
that, see, every time he was linked with a Celtic job, I honestly didn't think he could do a good job. But part of me thought this is going to be a roller coaster. This would be great. And I was kind of in between the two things. I'd love him to get it, but I genuinely don't think he would bring success. Gary, you're on the drink. No, he's on the drink. Gary's on the drink.
Look, he's back in. Let Boise finish.
Nah,
You know
honestly.
it, Gary. Come on.
He's a Rangers fan just stirring up. Cancel
Get
his
it
membership.
right,
Cancel him off. Get him out of there.
No, I think he's spot on. I'm glad
It's the
you've
lag.
seen it as well, Jerry.
It's the lag. It's the lag across the Irish Sea. I keep thinking you're finished.
Oh,
I keep thinking you're finished, and then I jump in, and then I realise you weren't finished.
that's right, mate. That's right. Of course.
Now,
that's
Keno
right.
would have been box office, but I honestly don't think he would have been the right man for the Celtic job. See, when he was linked with Hibs, I was all up for that. I wanted him because then you would have got all the positivities of Roy Keane coming into Scottish football without having the risk of Roy Keane, the shite manager. That would have been good. I would have took him at Hibs.
Do you know what? I don't think he's a shite manager as made it. I think Ipswich, anyone would have got the mediocre run he did. I think he drew more games than he won and lost. He was just drawn all the time. But Sunderland, I didn't see Johnston there.
He paid $9 million for Craig Gordon.
At Sunderland, and do you know what he said in his book? Pound for pound, the best signing he made at Sunderland. What used to? Oh, Terry knows better. It's Terry Robb.
Craig Gordon has only played half the games in his career that he should have played.
No, but that season, Sunderland stay up by about 8-9 points.
Financially, the effects of bringing him in. I'll buy that. I'll buy that. But at that time, can you imagine you're the chairman of Hearts? Somebody comes in and offers you $9 million for a Hearts player. Eh?
It was Romanov.
Aye, where's he at now? He's lying on the beach somewhere smoking Cuban cigars costing $2,000 each.
I tell you what, I think Craig Gordon was a £9 million goalkeeper then. I think it was you smirk at it, right? But the thing is,
sorry, the smirk. I think Craig Gordon was excellent, but no way could have.
At that point, he was the hottest goalkeeper in UK by a mile. At 20 years old, he was destined, mate. In Scotland, we play everyone down.
I know we do. I know we do.
And I think Hearts at that time went, do you know what? We're going to fucking get the fee. And I would love to see that ripple effect if all the other clubs held their own. What happens 7 years later, Terry? Or in fact, maybe even a decade later, our top scorer above Moussa Dembele, my namesake, Liam Boyce, 500 grand was sold for. The XPFL's top scorer, 500 grand. And that to me is a disgrace. Not Craig Gordon go for 9 million. It's the other way for me, Terry.
Who's Hearts' next biggest export out? What value? I
wonder. That's a good question.
I don't think there's anybody over $1 million.
Yeah, there will be. Be.
Who?
I would think so.
Scatchell.
No, Scatchell.
I don't think there's anybody over $1 million. Here's one as well that's in my head, but I always keep back this. Aberdeen signed Paul Bernard for $1 million. About 50 years ago. Fuck's sake. Not 50 years ago, but 20
97 years ago. 96, 97.
What's that? That's nearly 20 years. Aberdeen spent $1 million 20 years ago. Can you imagine Aberdeen spending $1 million now? I mean, what the fuck's going wrong there?
So exactly this
20 years ago, Aberdeen spent £1 million on a player.
Do you not see that's the conditioning we've now got? And we're meant to buy in to a football club like Celtic that turns over nearly £100 million or turns in a bad year £70 million and goes, we've really invested in the squad and backed the manager. And I'm sitting there going, you're spending fees right now that Aberdeen were doing, as Terry just highlighted, 18.
Yeah, £1 million Aberdeen spent.
Like, that's the same what we're paying for likes of, Maida and Atati and stuff, or just a wee bit more. It's like, come on. But I also feel when it comes to the departure of Craig Gordon should have been a watershed moment for Scottish football. Actually, if they're good enough, clubs will pay the fee. Doesn't matter if you're Hearts and you need the money. Doesn't matter if you're Ross County and you're in the Highlands. People will pay if you're good enough. Hearts literally stood firm and they got a fair fee for a brilliant player. Craig Gordon still got the best save of all time in the English Premier League as well. He's won that. That's him who's number one in that. And
here's the thing, Russell, I know the commenter will come in and go, you've cut across him again. Fucking stop doing that. But if I don't speak when it's in my head, I'll fucking forget about it. And then everybody misses out on a great point.
I don't mind at all.
How did Hearts get that 9 million? No other Scottish club was getting any sort of money like that. How did they not use that 9 million to become the next big force? How did they end up going down to the fucking next division?
Because the spending was out of control. The spending was out of control.
At Hearts?
Yes. Hearts at one point.
They didn't spend big dough on anybody.
Mate, they had a 40-man first-team squad at one point under Romanov. Giakoumakis, they reckon, was on 15,000 a week. At Hearts, that's fucking 750 grand a year for a Hearts player.
I've said to you, boys, you're talking about Celtic, and I've said to you, we should be breaking in any other way of business. Your costs go up every year. We should be breaking our transfer record every 1 to 2 years. Our
I agree
wages
with this,
should be
Terry.
increasing. Our wages, our record wages should be going up every single year. Now,
Completely
I know there's been a lot of screenshots of pay packets and stuff going around, which I
Bullshit.
absolutely do not fucking believe in. However, I do believe that if I look at it and think logically, I reckon our top earner at the moment is probably somewhere between 25 and 30 a week. That is dwarfed by our top earner of about 16 years ago. That doesn't happen in any other business where the wages you were prepared to pay 16 years ago are higher than the wages you pay today. Your wages go up, they keep going up, they keep going up, they keep going up. We need to get with this. We need to reach the next level. We have got to be prepared to continuously keep moving and developing and increasing our structure. The wages go up every year. The transfer fees go up every year. We keep spending more. We bring in more. The cost of your pie is not the same cost of your pie 16 years ago. Your
The
halftime
rewards,
pie.
Terry, of the TV money for the Champions League, the Champions League pot money, the win bonus in the Champions League, the draw bonus in the Champions League is all, by the way, quadrupled, if not more, times 10 than what it was then.
The cost
If
of your
people wanna
stuff in the
forget it,
superstore isn't the same as 20 years
our
ago, is it?
Adidas merchandise deal might not have went up as much as I would like, but it's still more than it was then. And by the way, see our sponsor on the front, Daffabet, they pay tenfold what NTL were on a joint deal with Rangers. I mean, it must be about times 5, 6 what we were earning then. So everything else goes up, yet our transfer fees go down, our wages go down. They all seem stifled, suffocated. I think we're conditioned, and Celtic has played a blinder on this. We're conditioned, Terry, to think these are the parameters we have to work in. I think I smell bullshit.
And just got a great record in the transfers. There's been a few that haven't worked. The Danish guy, he failed to upset the apple cart in midfield. He didn't upset the apple guard in midfield. Fuck off. Ban him. Yes. Oliver didn't upset the apple guard in midfield. There's been a couple of others. Idaguchi didn't work. But see if we're continuously taking punts in that 2 to 3, some of them aren't going to work.
See this, Terry. Let me just tell you one thing. Let me tell you one thing about Celtic's transfer expenditure. I feel when we look at the freedom, it appears from the outside, right? The autonomy that Ange has. Is it because they're comfortable with the brackets of fees that Ange is actually looking at? So it looks like he's been given this creative license, this poetic license, if you want to call it that, to go get who he wants. Ange finds a player, identifies a player, and he just is allowed to go get them because this is the new Celtic. Or is it because any player Ange looks at, it's like £1 to £2 million? We were spending that in the mid-90s.
We did spend decent dough on Carter, Vickers, and Jota. You've got to sort of you've got to say we did.
This was a squad needing rebuild though. We sold a 13 million and an £18 million player.
Yes,
so
I know that.
6 million guys coming in ain't no great shakes, Terry.
Well, here let's fast forward to the summer, boys, say, or even in this window. I prefer it was done in this window. If you're thinking ahead to next year, we're going to be champions this year. That's going to be our second season in the Champions League. That's going to be 240 millions. I want the same thing as I want it during the summer, and I don't want to sound like a fucking record. I want 2 or 3 upgrades. Forget all this fucking padding out your number 6s. I don't want 6 number 6s. I want 1 number 6 in Callum McGregor and another number 6, hopefully in Holy Iwata, and that covers number 6. I want 2 to 3 upgrades who are better than Starfelt, better than a couple of other players.
Oh, he doesn't want to say.
I don't want to say left back because I think Taylor. I think if Taylor
the
keeps
goalkeeper could be improved on.
If Taylor keeps progressing at the rate he has done, Taylor has become over the last 2 years a much improved player than the one that we brought in. Much improved.
I agree.
He had an uphill struggle because he wasn't Kieran Tierney. And we had brought in other players to hopefully replace Kieran Tierney, but they weren't Kieran Tierney either. And he's not Kieran Tierney, but that young lad has developed a lot over his time with Celtic, and I'm more than happy with Greg Taylor and the team. And I honest to God think, see since the minute he went off against Rangers 2 or 3 weeks ago, I still don't think we've got right up to speed again from him going off, because I think he gives us so much. I think he's sound. The thing with Taylor was, I think he's the opposite of Burnaby. Taylor was sound defensively, but the attacking side of his game required development, and that's possibly because he's with Kilmarnock and he's on the back foot every week, and he didn't get any time to work on. He wasn't attacking very often as a Kilmarnock left back, whereas when you become a Celtic left back, your main priority is to attack, and then you've got the complication of Ange with the inverted fullbacks and everything. I think Greg Taylor has developed so much to the point where I'm happy with him as being the first choice left back.
It doesn't mean no, Terry.
Speculate, Boise, for one summer. I'd love us to speculate and just go out there and push the boundaries to the absolute limit. Stop filling.
Yeah. Stop
filling the squad with padding and just go out there. Go for quality. Go for upgrades. If it's only 2 players, like there's been a lot of transition over the last couple of summers, and lots of players coming in, lots of players going out. I would be happy this summer or this January if we just went out and, I keep using the same word, Stardust, 2 absolute premium upgrades. So fuck if we break the transfer record. So fuck if we break the wage structure. Let's do this,
Terry.
Let's do this. Stop the padding. Upgrade the first 11. Let's give us something to look forward to next season.
Preach it, Terry, Rob, because you've said it better than I even could.
I said it last summer.
But you're telling the truth, though, Terry, because again, I don't think the links and speculation can all be bollocks. That's okay. But see, at the end of the day, no one, and absolutely no one, is convinced Celtic is going all out for a striker to score the goals in the Champions League. Anyone who's coming in, what's the discussion been? Everyone in the comments. A replacement for our second choice striker, Giakoumakis. No one's looking at what's the level above Kyogo. How much do they cost? What is, as Terry says, our transfer record? 9 million for Edouard. Guess what? It'll be 4 years ago this summer.
Here, boys, he hasn't pulled up any trees, by the way. He hasn't pulled up any trees down south.
Yeah,
he's struggling for game time.
Would you take him back, though?
No. Edward didn't do it for me. Dembele did. Dembele done it for me. Yeah, he done it for me. Edward didn't do it for me.
Would you think a 10 million investment in Dembele's wages, bear in mind, midway through that contract, you'll probably sell him and get the money anyway that you paid in his wages on a free, would be worth a conversation of tearing up that wage structure you just spoke about?
Well, I say, the first thing I'll say is, I don't think Dembele has developed in the way I would have thought he would have did. He was at Lyon. They actually loaned him out because, for whatever reason, he wasn't. I expected him to go to Lyon.
He was going to Atletico Madrid, though, Terry. Let's get it.
He was going to. Yeah, but wait. But if he was doing what Lyon wanted him to do, they wouldn't have loaned him to Atletico Madrid.
But it's still like, look who it was.
I know, but I expected. The point I'm trying to make is, I don't think Moose's career trajectory has been what he would have expected it to be. I don't think he's been the roaring success. I thought he would have went to Lyon. I thought he would have scored the same level of goals and then moved on to an absolute elite team permanently. That hasn't happened. He's leaving on free. My sort of question would be, why can't we go to 50 grand a week? Why can't we go to 60 grand a week? I mean, Celtic can afford that. Why do we not do it?
No fee
Why
involved.
don't we do it? There's no fee. If Musa and Belly comes in and the rest of the squad, obviously, lads talk and all the rest of the squad realise he's on substantially more than them, who gives a fuck? That's what happens in any job. You know what I mean? In your job, in my job, in anybody's job, there's people earning more than you. If they're a more senior person or believed to be doing a better job than you, or it doesn't really matter. There's people that aren't doing a better job than you that are getting more money every day of the week. So why can't we just push those boundaries? Why do we have to stop at 25, 30 grand? Why we go to 50? Moussa Dembele, if you were trying to sign Moussa Dembele now under a contract 2 or 3 years, you'd be talking 25, 30 million.
So you get him, you go,
you get him free,
4-year deal,
50, 60 grand a week. So what?
I can't, Terry, to me, this is it. That is then you go into the next level. Here's my other takeaway. Andrew wouldn't like it. I don't think Andrew would like the fact a player with holds, in his mind, so much power.
I don't think it's power, boy. See, it's a salary. I'm just still the manager because the player's getting a few quid more than some of the others. There's always going to be a top earner. It doesn't matter if it's Callum McGregor. It doesn't matter if it's Moussa Dembele. It doesn't matter if it's Scott Brown or whoever else. There's always going to be a top earner.
Now, Bob McBob comes in. Moussa misses playing Rob Kiernan. Let's get one thing very clear. Moussa against James Sands.
I'll tell you what, boys, though, the thing about Moussa is Moussa hasn't really left. He hasn't really left Celtic because he's very, very active on his various platforms, and all he ever seems to talk about is Celtic. Do you know what I'm saying? And whilst what I said earlier was invest no emotion on somebody that doesn't play for Celtic, I still have a wee bit of love for Moussa. And if Moussa wants to go out with me again, I'll go out with him. Do you know what I'm saying?
He's the ex you would take back in a heartbeat, mate. He's the one that walked out on you and you go, even though you walked out with me, you did it with panache and style.
He's got his faults. I'll take him back.
I think as well.
Can you imagine a front two? I know we don't do front twos. Can you imagine a front two, Moussa and Kyogo?
I'll tell you this. You imagine us having those chances in the Champions League. Without a partner for Moussa, we score them. There's your difference. Celtic do get the goals to finish second in that group. If not top, we will get the goals.
I remember back. Do you remember the game? Do you remember Moussa's first Celtic Rangers game? The day he scored the hat trick. Seeking into that game, we had signed him. Obviously, we got him on the cut price. We got him for $500,000 or something because of the old cross-border thing and out of contract and all of that. But at that time, Lee Griffiths was absolutely on fire. He was at his peak, and then Griffiths got injured just before that game because Moussa wasn't really in the team. I was into that match thinking, we're going into this game. The Griff isn't there. This guy isn't up to speed. This guy's no fucking, he's no Griffiths. This guy's no Griffiths. And then he fucking goes on.
19 years old, he did that.
Wow.
Walks away like this.
And then at the end of the game, you're going, why was I worried about no Griffiths? Like this guy was absolutely superb. One of my favourite memories as a Celtic fan was that game. Just because it was such a dominant performance, and because I did go into that game with a lot of trepidation because the Griff wasn't there. And you're thinking back now, historically, Lee Griffiths, like you were shiting yourself because Lee Griffiths wasn't available.
I think the thing is with Dembele, the reason it's a compelling argument is sometimes as well, there's a level of opportunity that arises in football you just can't imagine happening in this universe, let alone a parallel one. At this moment in time, he's got 5 months left in a deal, Terry, that does expire. He doesn't have a club.
I'd love to explore it. Why, so you're teasing me here. You're fucking teasing me here.
But this is the thing, though. This is where you've got to grab opportunities and go, I'll come down to the same question I maybe asked in the summer about Jordan Larson. Ask the question. Yeah. And see if you can ask the question, you find the fucking testicular fortitude to go, Moussa, how about it? What is it you want?
Do you know what we didn't see enough? We didn't see Dembele and Edward enough.
Yeah,
a wee bit like Giakoumakis and Kyogo. I seen it one day. There was a pre-season game against Shamrock Rovers, and I went to it because it was quite close to me and it was easy to get tickets. Dembele and Edward played up front that day. I think we won either 7-0 or 9-0. I can't remember, but it was one of the first times I'd seen both of those because Edward came in on loan with the option to buy kind of thing, but he was kind of
at first.
He was second. Yeah, he was kind of he was the Giakoumakis Dembele played up front, Griffiths played, and Edward was kind of an afterthought. And then, but that was the forward plan at that time. They probably knew at that stage Musa was gone, but there was never a great deal of investment in Musa and Edward both up. But I seen them one day and I thought that could be amazing. Unfortunately, we never really got to see that come to fruition. But those two would have been frightening.
I think Kaiser brings a brilliant point in here.
Kaiser's great.
It's time to dream again, Terry, as well. Look at the names he's saying, because we need the type of striker you just bet your mortgage on to score. Larson brought that. Musa brought that. Gary Hooper brought that.
Cadetti.
Donald, I'm not really having as much, but he did score a lot of goals.
Cadetti brought it.
Needs, in my opinion, to bring in a household name. See someone as well I would like to see at Celtic. I don't mean a person, whether it be Dembele or not, someone that gets the 3,000 fans outside the ground. See that stir of excitement. I don't understand why we sit cash rich and are afraid to do these things anymore. Yeah, see if we find ourselves next season 10 points, 12 points behind come January, we would do it then. We would push the boat out then. Why not do it for a position of strength? I think the shockwaves we can send domestically, yes, but even as a European force again, if you were to convince Dembele, this is an example, doesn't need to be Dembele, but as an example, he doesn't do it for me. You know, I think he'd be okay. He could score goals, but I don't think he's going to get. I think the fans have invested so much, Terry, of late. I think we deserve. We deserve a poster boy signing. I don't think Celtic do enough anymore. I think the one that captures the imagination, Terry.
I'm joking with Nisbet, but I actually do think Nisbet is a good player. I think he's better than a Hibs player. Is he good enough to be a Celtic centre forward? I'm not convinced, but he is a good footballer. I think he's probably too far into his career now. I think Nisbet's about 26. I think he was a late developer, coming into the SPL level and stuff like that. But he's a good footballer, boys. I watched that game where they played against Rangers. That hat trick. Nisbet's a good player, and maybe if Nisbet was 20 or 21, I would be wanting Nisbet. I think he's probably at his peak, and
there's an argument
with the injuries and stuff like that.
Because Jerry's giving me 20 quid because you interrupt me all the time. I thought I'd interrupt you to tell us about Jerry Coyle. 20
well,
quid.
See if you ever interrupt me again, I'll stop my subscription to the bus.
Listen, mate, that's already spent.
Cheers, Jerry. Great to have you on, Jerry. Great to have you on.
So kind. But do you know what the thing is with Nisbet? Nisbet's the guy that there's a compelling argument to go 38 league games, starting 30 of them, you'll probably get you 30 goals. Right? I think that in a Celtic team, that's the type of finisher is. Champions League level, I think he might find himself in the same direction of travel that Giakoumakis and Kyogo have.
Yeah.
I think he might find that a bit of a step up. He might be a bit daunted and he might not be able to reach that.
All I'm saying is I think he's a good footballer. I think he's better than Hibs.
Right. I don't think there's anything wrong with that argument. I think
he's a good footballer.
Do you ever think Ange will look domestically for a footballer to improve his Celtic team?
If he thinks they're good enough.
Okay. Do you think Ange has seen anyone in Scottish football that he thinks is good enough?
If he's not slightly impressed with Nisbet, I think there's something wrong. But he probably hasn't seen Nisbet because Nisbet's been injured since the time that Ange came in. I just think outside of Celtic, Nisbet is one of the best players. I think he's got something just above the level that he's playing at. But is he good enough for Celtic? I'm not totally convinced. But I think he's a good footballer. I think he's a really good footballer. Now Shankland, I think Shankland could maybe end up across the city. I just have that. He just looks like he could end up across the city. Do you know when you look at some people, and you just know he can't see his face doesn't fit in the Celtic top, but I can see him across the city. I don't know. I think they could possibly bring in Shankland just as maybe a second or third option.
How much would they have to pay for him?
Shankland, 200 grand.
What? He scored 19 goals or something this season for Hearts. He's the captain on a long-term deal.
What am I talking Dundee United? Hearts.
He's Hearts captain on a long-term deal. You don't get him for 200 grand.
They got him for fuck all.
They're not selling him for 200 grand. Oh, don't be daft. No. I think you're miles away there, Terry.
What's their biggest fee since they got 9 million for Craig Gordon?
I don't know, but they're not selling Shankland for 200 grand, mate. That's miles off it. I'm no offense. You're miles off it there. I think Hearts will command. If Shankland, you want to start talking Shankland, I think you're 2 million plus.
What did they get him for? What did they get him for?
Very little. 300, 400 from the Belgian team.
£400. £400.
No, it was.
They got him
in
for
the
fuck
hundreds
all,
of thousands.
pussy. They got him for nothing. Hearts wouldn't spend 400 grand.
Well, there you go.
Crazy.
Let's pull him off as 3 million opening offer, for fuck's sake. You think 400 grand?
Half a million.
200 grand, did you say?
$500,000. If Rangers win an offer $500,000 for Shankland tomorrow, they get him. $500,000. No bother.
I think you're miles off it.
Boise. Hearts would take 500 grand tomorrow, no problem at all for Shankland.
What?
See if Liam Boyce was fit, Shankland might not even be in the team.
Oh no, I don't know. I think you're wrong in this one, Terry. I like agreeing with you most of the time.
No, you can disagree. I think if Liam Boyce was fit, it's a toss-up between the two. You said yourself earlier, you couldn't believe Liam Boyce went for 500 grand. Now you're saying Liam Boyce
That was a mistake.
Shankland. If Liam Boyce was fit, it's a toss-up between the two of them. If Shankland goes across the city, I couldn't give two fucks.
No, I don't want him at Celtic. I don't want him at Celtic. I agree with you. I think
Hearts take $500,000. No problem. No problem at all.
half him.
No problem.
No.
They're getting a profit at that. Lawrence Shankland, what sort of planet are you on, man, if you think that he's worth more than $500,000?
He scored 18 goals this season. He's their captain. They can't sell him to an SPFL rival, mate, for 500 grand.
Boise, do you know anything about the game?
You think 500 grand Shankland would go?
Shankland, easy. 500 grand, you're lucky to get it. You're lucky to fucking get it. See your man Nisbet. Your man Nisbet is a fucking really, really good player. Look at Bob, Mike Bob. No,
Mate,
honestly. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. If Lawrence Shankland goes for more than 500 quid, I will come on this show.
500 quid?
500 grand. 500 grand.
Keep talking.
Honestly, if Lawrence Shankland goes anywhere for more than 500 grand, I will come on this show naked.
Mate, he will definitely, if he leaves, be more than 500 grand. I think you're under. No, I think you're wrong.
You haven't a clue about football. You have no idea.
Oh, that's your snide pattern now. You can't just back up and going, well, you don't have a clue about football.
Lawrence Shankland will never move for more than 500 grand the rest of his career. Let's.
It'll be a YouTube short, mate. Trust me.
I don't care.
Good. Listen, mate. Listen, he is not. Hearts are not selling him to Rangers for 500 grand. I don't.
Well, then Rangers ain't getting him because they haven't got any more than that.
Well, I agree with that. That's not the point.
What about the laddie they're going to sign? There was a wee bit. He said 105 quid. Phil McGinley. Listen to Phil McGinley. No, see, we had a wee bit of disagreement in the WhatsApp chat this week around Cantwell. I think Cantwell's a baller, and Connor and myself had very, very different agreement or very different opinions on I think Cantwell's a player. That's a good sign. If they get him for very little. Nah,
500 grand, I think.
I rate him.
500 grand, Norwich are selling him for.
Cantwell's a decent player.
Yeah, 500 grand, mate, they're selling him for. But this is good. This is good because Glasgow CSC, I don't know if you watched all of Bustalgia last night. It was another 3-hour marathon, Terry, so don't blame me if you didn't.
I'm in overtime, by the way.
But the drink got carried away. And last night, based on basically being a handsome bastard in Excel, I suggested, because Dundee United have had a resurrection in form since Mulgrew became a coach, I could see him as Celtic manager. And I meant it. Glasgow CSC pulled me up on the fan cam today. And I was like, oh God, it's all coming back to me. Why did I say that? And I was so serious. I see Mulgrew being a future Celtic manager, and now he's pulling me up again. I think Glasgow CSC is right to pull me up on that, Terry. Charlie Mulgrew isn't going to be Celtic manager. That Bustalgia.
Boise. Sometimes it's surprising the players that go on to be managers, and you maybe look at players and you watch them through their career and you think he'll be a great manager, and it never happens for them. And then you see other players and you think he'd never be a manager. Like I honest to God, I could never have seen Scott Brown be a manager because of some of the antics that Scott. The way Scotty behaved on the pitch sometimes, I could never see him being able to instill discipline in other players when he's a wee bit of a wild card, and you know he's playing against Aberdeen. He's walking about with a chest out and all these.
I like Mo Grooting.
No,
I
but
like
Brynny's had a really good start in management. He's going okay down there, and I foresee a day? I know, but do you foresee a day when he could maybe hold the keys?
Scott Brown at Celtic manager? No. I think. Do you know what? In fact,
it depends how he develops, Russell. It depends how he develops.
Here's my next worst take. I think there's more chance Callum McGregor's a Celtic manager than Scott Brown.
There's an option for both. I wouldn't rule it out. You know, he's in the early rungs of management. If he develops,
if he comes back to Celtic with hair, he can fuck off. He shaves the head. That's part of the contract. He
looks great. I think he looks great with the hair. He looks so much more professional, honestly.
Oh God, I don't want him to be professional.
But see if you were a player, see if you were in the Fleetwood dressing room and he was trying to give you a hard time about something, you just show him one of them videos of him strutting about Pittodrie like that. Do you know what I mean? Or standing doing the brownie and go, fuck you. Nah, I wouldn't rule out, boys. I definitely wouldn't rule out Scott Brown being manager someday.
We need. If Bruni was ever a Celtic manager and he came with the hair, that's it. I'm turning off.
I'm not talking now.
He's got to shave the head.
British managerial career will develop over the coming years.
I hope so.
It will. I definitely wouldn't rule it out, man.
But he's got to shave the head. He's got to shave the head, Terry. I don't like him with the hair.
I'm not fussed about the hair. He can do what he wants. He can do it. I'm not interested in the hair. The hair isn't a prerequisite. If he's ready to become Celtic manager, I don't care about the hair.
Okay.
He looks so much younger with the hair. He looks
a better manager with the shaved head with the hair. As soon as Neil Lennon came back with hair, he was crap. See when he did the shaved head and just wore gloves in the middle of the summer, he was brilliant.
Roy Keane moustache or no moustache? He's fucking stupid looking. He's stupid looking.
I know, but
I'll tell him to his face. He's stupid looking.
Would you fuck? Don't you dare tell him to his face, because then he'll find out you're on the bus, and I'll be unhappy with that.
We'll get him on the bus.
Just you wait. Who's coming on the bus? I can't say too much. But just you fucking wait.
Oh, you've somebody up your sleeve. There
is something up the bus's sleeve. Just let me tell the viewers this. There's 200 of you watching live right now.
Is it better than Martin?
I have like by miles. I have a promise I'm going to make to you all right now. If we win the league, we have been promised the promise of the promise that the show after the title win, we are joined by someone you won't be able to comprehend is on the bus.
Is McGrandles coming on again? Is McGrandles coming on again?
Delivered. Bigger than McGrandles. Just you wait.
You can't be bigger than McGrandles. There's nobody bigger than McGrandles.
I will not say it yet, but just remember this. The bus is madness. The bus is always going to be up and down, right? It's always going to be, if we get something good, it's going to be ridiculously good. We are talking beyond whatever it is you think.
Other vodkas are available.
Yes, and thank you, Smirnoff, to the sponsorship that you do, and to our friends at Dragon Soup, because you keep this bus rolling as well. And
Boise, you're going to do another 20 minutes, because if we are, I need a pish.
Yeah, me too. Let's
do a pish, and then we'll do another 20. Yeah.
Right, nobody's.
seagulls follow the troll, it's because they think sardines will be thrown into the sea. Thank you.
Nobody cares, mate.
Nobody cares, mate. Nobody fucking cares, mate. Honestly.
And the guy's talking absolute nonsense. Never heard so much rubbish in my life.
Normal men.
What do you mean, normal men?
We're just innocent men.
I'm telling you, don't back down, double down. Don't back down, double down.
We're back. Sorry about that. When you talk for 3 hours, sometimes nature calls, Terry, doesn't
Well, see, the only thing I'm going to say to you is the whole hypothesis about the post-match production, as it's now known as, being Liam's fault is now completely out the window. I think you and me are the root cause. Some idiot. Listen, I'm just going to give a wee bit of airtime to this. Some idiot has just sent me a screenshot of a Celtic player handling the ball in injury time, and sent back the referees are making sure you win everything. And I'm just replying here. Apparently, you're allowed to do that, i.e., Goldson.
What's this?
Somebody's just sent me a screenshot of a Celtic player handling the ball in the box in injury time, and said the referees are looking after you rightly this season. And I'm just sending a wee quick response here saying apparently that's within the rules as per Goldson. Cutting him off. Absolute asshole. Anyway, what we're going to do for the next 20, because then I'm up. Honestly, I have to speak to the wife at least once this weekend.
What's this week?
What else do you want to cover off?
Well, I think there's always room, Terry, to cover plenty of topics regarding Celtic. What are we going to talk about? Where do we go from here? You know?
Upgrades is all. Is
right.
It's the only way. Upgrades. Centre half. We haven't got anybody at the club who is at the level I want to play alongside Carter Vickers. I haven't seen Kobayashi. We've got to see him. He's got to get some game time. He's been on the bench, I think, for the 3 matches since he signed. He hasn't got any game time. The manager has brought him in. Does he think he's better than Starfelt? Behind Starfelt?
What's your vibe?
Where is he in the pecking order? My gut feel is. My gut feel is Starfelt's still number 2, and this guy's number 3.
Aye. It's
and
weird.
I've watched another pod where one of the contributors is quite close to that league, and he reckons this guy is the.
It wasn't Dan the Man, was it?
No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. But he reckons this guy is just on the verge of the Japanese squad and will break into the Japanese team and will become the defensive partner to Itakura, and that'll be the Japanese centre back pairing going forward is Itakura and Kobayashi. You can't comment. We haven't seen nothing. But I want us to have a better centre back partnership. I want our top 2 centre backs to be Carter Vickers and somebody as good as Carter Vickers. That would make me so happy. And that takes me on to a wee bit of a discussion. Again, another pod. I don't want to keep referencing other pods, but there's another pod this week, and
They better be good.
Conversation came around people roughly of my age and the best centre-back partnership that you've seen. And Virgil van Dijk's obviously in there because of what he'd done at Celtic, but obviously the heights that he's gone on to after that. And anybody that's of the same vintage as me, I rate Paul Elliott as in the top 2 centre-backs that I've seen. He's before your time, Russell. Paul Elliott was something.
Oh, my dad loved him. Paul
Elliott only stayed with Celtic for a couple of years, but Virgil van Dijk only stayed with Celtic for a couple of years.
Yep.
Paul Elliott was my favourite player. I took my confirmation name for Paul Elliott. What a player.
My dad used to say, do you remember during the run to Seville? It was Paul Elliott. I don't know if you, again, your coverage might be different, but you know, the sports scene, when it used to be Dougie Vipond, I do apologise. And
you're referencing the sports scene here. Wait to hear this nonsense.
Jerry, he just cut in front of me again, by the way, mate. Just so you know.
I've annoyed Jerry again. See, my problem is I've got a very short attention span, and if I don't say it when it's there, I'll forget about it. I think I mentioned last week about us guys over here before Sky came in. We used to drive an hour to watch the game on TV and stuff.
Yes.
When I went to secondary school, there was a guy in my class, and he lived close enough to the closest points to get Scottish TV across the water. And what used to happen was, on a Monday morning, he would come into school and he would hand me a VHS tape, which was the highlights from Sports Scene of the game at the weekend, for me to go home, get all my family members round and watch the highlights from Sports Scene on a VHS tape, then take it back into him and give it to him on the Tuesday for him to record it again the next time. Oh, it's unbelievable. We're so lucky nowadays that through the various platforms you can see every single Celtic game. Honestly, it's so different to what I had growing up, and it's amazing. Like I said so many times earlier on, the whole week is just the Celtic game. When's this game coming? And you get to it, and you're getting excited. And I'm 45, middle-aged man, and I'm getting it. The only thing that gets me excited is the Celtic game. I'm waiting for it, and when it comes, I'm just that fucking VAR getting.
So what I was saying, Terry,
the drug.
Well, should run away with nonsense, right? What I was saying, right, was Paul Elliott during the run to Seville was the main pundit. So there was Paul Elliott and another. Anyway, this was 2003. I didn't know Paul Elliott as a footballer. I just thought he looked like Jono Lumu, right? That's who he reminded me of, Ken, the rugby player for New Zealand.
Some specimen.
Yeah. And my dad
Tell you what he was, Russell.
Let me get there.
He was Bobo Baldi's build with Virgil van Dijk's ability. That's what he was.
Anyway, the point I'm making is nothing to do with that. So he would be on Sports Scene talking, and he used to love a word that ended in "itty." Physically, socially, mentally. You know, he'd always, Dad used to always go, he's a brilliant speaker, him. He's a brilliant speaker. And he used to go, see him as a player, proper centre-half. And I was like, what do you mean? And he went, he was hard as nails. But my perception as a young person watching him as a pundit, because he was very articulate, I couldn't imagine him being this sort of centre-half who could mix it. Not in a back. I knew physically, mentally, tough. You know, I was looking at him though going, fucking hell, he seems almost too nice to be that. But Dad did share your views. This guy was a proper centre-back. I'll tell you what I feel. I thought Van Dijk was the Rolls Royce as a centre-half. The other one for me that I would put my house on was Johan. Not Bobo. I love Bobo. I think Bobo had loads of attributes that were great, too prone to a mistake. Mialbi never made those mistakes. He never made those mistakes. Mialbi maybe wasn't as aggressive as a Bobo Baldi. Maybe didn't have the character that Bobo did. That I thought Mialbi was hard in his own right. I thought was see when you seen him at a World Cup and stuff, Terry, you looked at Mialbi and you went, do you know what? He knows how to mix it when he's playing the best. And I actually think his knee cost him a career of being Celtic centre-half right up to 35. I think it was actually injuries that ended up sort of him going, I think it was Levante he went to in Spain, relegation fodder in La Liga. It wasn't him. His legs had gone by then. It was a shame because you also knew he could play at the back because he was signed as a midfielder by Venglos, holding midfielder. And it was O'Neill that kind of went, play him centre half. He's a centre half. That's the centre half. Oh, Terry, stop your shy. I thought you'd froze there.
Do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to be like the players now when they're talking to each other.
You don't go in a huff, Terry. It's okay. You like to talk, mate. I'm just giving you the
listen,
viewers' feedback.
I'm going to be unpopular. I don't mean to be unpopular. See, Bobo. Bobo's a myth. Bobo's a myth. Bobo was not a footballer, Russell. Honest to goodness.
That was in Melby anyway. So let's talk about him first.
Bobo could hit a ball. See, apart from that, he was a bomb scare. Bobo Baldi was not a good football player.
What about Melby?
I don't care how unpopular that opinion. Johan Melby was a proper player. Proper player.
I thought you'd have
reliable
centre half, mate.
No. Reliable centre half holding midfielder, wins his headers, wins his tackles, gets the ball. He's got enough about him to play the passes. Melby was a good player. He wasn't at the level.
His injuries stopped him. I think injuries played a part. I felt sorry for him because even by the time Seville final came round, I don't think Melby was the same Melby the past couple of years, even by then.
I don't know, Russell, if it was before he joined Celtic or after he joined Celtic. Melby played against England at Wembley for Sweden.
No, it was during Celtic.
He absolutely
He scored.
He bossed it.
He scored and he was brilliant.
He was the number 6. He was the number 6 and just searching for now. He was a proper player. He was a proper player. And when he was part of the management staff under Lenny, he was a big influence on that. He was a big part of Lenny's team. And when Lenny came back the second time, he wasn't able to bring Melby with him, which I think probably had an impact on what Lenny done second time round. Now, Melby was proper. Melby was on a completely different level to Bobo Baldi.
I agree with that, by the way.
I know there's memories of Bobo and this legend of this big monstrosity of a man, which he was. There was muscles coming out of his ears. Do you know that kind of thing? He'd even bigger muscles than Steve O'Matt that's just joined the pod. Bobo had slightly bigger muscles than Steve O.
Just about.
Honestly, see if he didn't hit it. Seville final.
He sold the jerseys a wee bit with that sliding tackle. It was needless.
And that was always.
Melby wouldn't have done that.
He was too rash, Russell, because he didn't have the footballing ability. A ball in the air. There was nobody better in the whole world than Bobo Baldi going and attacking the ball in the air. But see any other aspect of the game. Tackling, he was okay. A bit rash. Oh, Jesus, with the ball at his feet, he wasn't a footballer. And I know that's going to be an unpopular sort of opinion, but that's me trying to be honest again. He was awful. He was awful.
What did you make of Ramiz Khan's point? Ramiz donated 179 a super sticker. Thank you, Ramiz, mate. I appreciate it. I hope I'm pronouncing your name right, Mr. Khan. He says McManus was very underrated. I don't know. I've got a theory, right, on McManus and Caldwell. And maybe because I've got Neil Lennon bias in me. Maybe it is. But I thought Lennon became the fittest he'd ever been under Strachan, right? Phil McGinley spoke about this. He was almost like gaunt at times. When you see the second season, compared to what you associate with Lennon, but he almost looked like his cheekbones were protruding. And it was because he was so fit. I think Lennon was covering a lot of Caldwell McManus's errors. I thought Lennon became the ultimate older midfielder, 35, 36. I thought his job was very limited, what he was to do, but I thought he covered a lot of bases for the likes of McManus and Caldwell. I don't think McManus was underrated. I think he exceeded expectations.
I'm just looking over here, boys, to my whiskey collection, and the reason
I thought it was you getting called out.
No. The reason I'm doing that is I made a point in the Daily Record hotline a long time ago, and I got a bottle of Scottish Leader sent across to me from the Daily Record. And
really?
the point I made was Neil Lennon gets a lot of stick This was at the time when he was playing. Gets a lot of stick for being unfit. And my argument was Neil Lennon wasn't unfit. Neil Lennon was one of the fittest players at Celtic at that time. Neil Lennon was slow, but he wasn't unfit. He was just a slow runner. He was a slow runner. But his speed of mind made up for his slowness of his legs. The only thing I would say, though, was, and I think you've got to give McManus, Bobo, that's all right. I've got Big Steve-O. As long as I've got Big Steve-O Matt behind me, I'm not worried about Bobo. Bobo. Steve-O's going to get you, Bobo. No, what I would say is McManus and Caldwell is unfashionable. It's not sexy. It's in no way attractive. But that got to the last 16 of the Champions League. And Boise, yeah. And Boise, it doesn't matter if Lenny was covering for them or not. It doesn't matter if Pirlo was covering for them. You've got to give those two a bit of credit for that. It's unfashionable, it's unsexy, it's unattractive. They're not great names. They fucking done the job, Boise. They done the job. And the manager was the most unfashionable manager of, he's come behind Martin. Gordon Strachan's come behind Martin. It's a bit like Greg Taylor coming behind Tierney. He's not Martin. He's not Martin. We don't want him. He's not a Celtic man. Gordon Strachan done some fucking job, and I'd give McManus his dues, and I'll give Caldwell their dues. If they weren't perfect players, they weren't brilliant footballers, but they done the job. And it's not all about the flamboyance, of course, hitting headlines. It's about getting results, and those laddies did it. They did it.
What about then a player who I think looked far better in the eye, but I wasn't always sold on, and that was Jason Denayer.
I just want to check if my bottle of Scottish Lader's still over here.
Yeah, have a look. I always felt Jason Denayer was a wee bit. I think he got Player of the Year once, or Young Player of the Year. I think Denayer got, and I was never always sold. Good. I was never always sold on Denayer as much as other people were. I always thought he was a bit old. What's the saying? Is it all skirt, no knickers? I always thought, yeah, he's good in the ball, but he's, I was never as sold on him as what other people were.
He sits on a long list of players who I think after Celtic it all went downhill. I'm thinking somebody, Gary Hooper. There's a long list. But Denayer and Van Dijk was an excellent partnership, and it kind of is the opposite of Caldwell and McManus. It's sexy, They've got the hairdos, they've got the tans, they look flamboyant in possession.
Didn't do it in Europe though. We got humped in Europe with those two.
Yeah, it's a really good comparison.
McManus and Caldwell never got humped like that.
Caldwell and McManus versus Denayer and Van Dijk. You're immediately drawn to this. To the sexy look. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, we were getting scalped 6 goals, 7 goals, I think it was, with Denayer and Van Dijk.
But when you look at the results and you look
McManus
at the reality, McManus and Caldwell outdone them.
And don't tell me that Denayer and Van Dijk were playing better players than Caldwell and McManus were, because I struggle with that argument.
And even then, if you look at McManus and Caldwell had Paul Telfer on the right and Lee Naylor on the left. Do you know what I'm saying?
Mental. Stan Varga. Remember he came in at 31-32.
Stan Varga
for Sunderland. And he scored one season. I think he scored 10 goals.
He reminds me of the other guy, Ramon Vega. Both of those are the same person in my long memory. Varga and Ramon Vega are the same person.
We've got centre half options now, Tenny. Who's going to be?
We need another.
Who's going to? Yeah, I think we need someone who's going to be the dog. Someone who's going to. And I don't think Starfelt. I think maybe his best attributes are defending, but I don't think he's good enough to be the dog beside Cameron Carter-Vickers. I think we need someone who you go all out attribute wise. If he's good at passing, brilliant. But what his main attributes are defending. I'm not sure. Starfelt's competent at defending, but not brilliant at it. I think for us to thrive, we'll need in Europe that guy who you go, fucking hell. He can, you can count on him.
Can I ask you a question, Russell?
Of course.
Starfelt or Chris Iyer? Can you imagine Chris Iyer playing beside Carter Vickers, bringing the ball forward?
Sold on Iyer all the time.
Iyer was
Iyer.
good at bringing the ball forward. He developed so much over his time.
I thought he tackled with the wrong foot all the time, though. Oh, so see, we see him
Him or
tackle.
Starfelt. Chris Iyer.
Probably Iyer. Yeah, Iyer. But not massively Iyer.
Denier or Starfelt?
Oh, Denier, but again, not massively.
Caldwell or McManus or Starfelt? Nah, we've got to upgrade it. If you and me can see it through drunken lenses, and Angie's got to see it. I want to see this Japanese guy in action.
Yes.
If he's not better, I don't know why we've got him. I really don't.
I agree with that.
We're wasting time. We're wasting money. Go out and get a fucking better one. And I'm happy with Greg Taylor at left back. I think Bernabei's got potential. And you and I talked about this. I think I see enough. That there's development there. I just don't see development in Starfelt at this stage in his career. I just don't see that he's going to get any better.
What did you make of the name below?
I think as a free transfer for a couple of seasons.
First season, I thought he was ropey.
He did okay.
Second season, he starts against Barcelona. It's fucking brilliant.
He did okay. Kelvin Wilson did okay. I definitely wouldn't. Be saying Kelvin Wilson.
You just went last 16, though, Terry.
Yeah.
Let's talk about last 16.
No, he was okay. He was
the main defender in that last 16.
Was he under Lenny or Strachan?
Lenny. He was the Lenny last 16 campaign.
That was a decent free transfer signing. That was okay.
Oh, come on. I think we have the debate about how well Caldwell McManus did in the two last 16s. I think we need to look at Kelvin Wilson's. Yeah, similar
level. Yeah, he wasn't sexy. I think people just get blown away by the appearance of somebody or the way they swagger at a defense with the ball. That doesn't really mean anything. Like I was at two matches this morning with my young lads before I watched the Celtic game,
right?
And I was saying to one of my young fellas on the way home, some of the guys in the team, they get the ball and they do a few keepy-ups and they do a few step-overs. And it looks great. And if you're watching the game, you're drawn to that kind of skill and activity. But what does it actually mean? Unless it leads to something, it's worth fuck all. And I think as football supporters, we get drawn to people because maybe you've got somebody with long hair or somebody and they look
right.
good and they get the ball and they look sexy on the ball, but unless they're actually doing something productive, it's worth fuck all. It's worth nothing. It's about the result, and it's about what they contribute to getting that result. And I think you sometimes get a wee bit, your vision gets a wee bit skew-whiffed just by what somebody looks like, their swagger, It's like when you and me turned up at the Bullfrog and you're strutting about there and you've your chest out and your arms going and you're like McGregor walking up towards the ring. I'm immediately drawn to you. But does that mean you're worth more to the pod than David Logue or Phil McGinley, who are sitting in there reversing their lines and trying to prepare? Do you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying?
It's a good point. It's a good point. Anyway, Ted, I think we will call it there. It's 10:05. This has been brilliant fun, mate. I really enjoy the Saturday night chats, mate. I love it. When Celtic play 5:30, it means me and Terry get to do P.M.P after the watershed. And that's what everyone wants, really, Terry. But it's been a brilliant show. It's been 2 hours. We are calling it. Ramiz Khan, thank you so much for your generosity again. Gordon Strachan, underrated. We've discussed that. Ramiz, I implore you to check out the Bustalgia shows that are on the bus. They're in the links below the channel right now. There has been a couple of Strachan episodes. We did one only 2 weeks ago. You'll probably quite enjoy the content. Me and Phil and Liam, the Punked Up Warlord, did on that. Other than that, Terry, Rob, it's brilliant to have you on the bus every week, mate. I enjoy your company every weekend. This has been great fun. We're going to call it there. It has been yet another marathon. It's great being a Celtic fan. Win another final, baby. Let's win.
Hail.
Will it be another treble? We'll find out soon.
seagulls follow the troll. It's because they think sardines will be thrown into the sea. Thank you.
Nobody cares, mate.
Nobody cares, mate. Nobody fucking cares, mate. Honestly.
And the guy's talking absolute nonsense. Never heard so much rubbish in my life.
Normal men.
What do you mean, normal men?
We're just innocent men.
I'm telling you, don't back down, double down. Don't back down, double down.